Vetiver, also written like this in French, is a grass, or more or less a root system, in the same family as lemongrass and citronella. The fragrant oil, or the essential oil, is derived from the large root system of this grass. Most people in the fragrance world will show you a picture of a grass leaf or grass, as that is much more aesthetic as a root system would be. Me too, I'm guilty of it. Because that way you get kind of an idea of what it could possibly smell like. Vetiver is local or native to regions of India, Indonesia, and Sri Lanka. However, most of the vetiver obtained today is from cultivated farms in Haiti, Polynesia, and West Africa. And in those regions, often vetiver is called KHUS, KUS. Vetiver has long been prized for its smell and its fixative qualities and stabilizers for delicate fragrance notes. Today, mostly used in men's fragrances, vetiver may be smoky, it may be balsamic, it may be dry. Sometimes it even has a little bit of a woody nuance to it, or maybe even a slight leathery one. So let's look at some of the top fragrances with the fantastic note of vetiver. Of course, we're gonna do the most obvious one first, and it's Creed Original Vetiver. Per their website, this is what it says about Creed Vetiver. The House of Creed infuses all three parts of the plant: the earthy root, the verdant leaves, and the rich heart to freshen the blend. The result is a green, fresh scent reminiscent of lingering summers. Invigorating, sophisticated, and vivacious, it leaves an alluring air of freshness around any lucky enough to wear it. So the sophisticated vetiver, original vetiver from Creed, was created in 2004, and it sports the notes of vetiver leaves, bergamot, bitter orange, mandarin at the top. Then you have pink berries, white pepper, coriander in the belly. Then you have vetiver, sandalwood, one of the best ambergris to my nose. And then you have Tonkin musk, which is considered to be the rarest and best musk available. But while we're at it, we'll give it a little spray on here. Got a nice little disbursement. Really like the sprayers on the Creed fragrances, and the top just pops kind of like in there like that. It does spin though, kind of loose a little bit. I wish it was a little bit tighter. It is a beautifully crafted fragrance, definitely fresh. Unfortunately, what I find with Creed Original Vetiver is that it has sort of just a mediocre performance and projection. I do wish it was a little bit better. I mean, for me, I only get sort of 4 hours out of it, and then it starts to die down. And actually the dry down, like in a lot of the other Creed fragrances, I have a beautiful dry down of the ambergris. In this one, it's not quite as prominent. However, it does stay much better if you spray it on your shoulders or something like that. A couple of sprays on each side. It does stay there kind of fresher for a while. Now, I did come home and I wore this last week or the week before, and my wife did say that she could still smell it as I was walking by in the evening. But for you, perception-wise, on your own, you're not gonna smell it anymore. Maybe we're nose blind to it after a while. But I do wish that it was a little bit stronger for me throughout the day as I wear it. Like I said, it's kind of a mediocre projector, and the longevity is kind of mediocre. If you can afford this one without regret, then go ahead and get it. But here's a little tip for you. If you like this scent profile, but you don't want to fork out, the money that it is nowadays, you can go with a little bit of a different one. It's a little pro tip, I guess. You can go with Mugler, and it's the Mugler cologne. You can find this one often at discounters, and it'll give you a similar sort of scent. Is it the same? No. Is it going, is it as elegantly crafted as the Creed Original Vetiver? No, it's not. But it's going to be in the same sort of vein of fragrances. And if you want to just smell like that, then you can go with this one. And of course, if you can afford this one without regret, get that one. The next one is also going to be a gem in the vetiver world. And it is going to be a Guerlain, and the Guerlain Vetiver, this one right here. This is the EDT from 2000. Of course, the perfumer behind this one is Jean Paul Guerlain. This one right here has over 20 notes that are listed on it. We're going to go through it a little bit. I'm not going to read you all the notes. Kind of seems to be a little boring after a while if you do that. This one is more of a cozy vetiver. It starts off with some citruses that are kind of mellowed with a little tobacco right at the very get-go. It's beautifully done, followed by an amazing vetiver. Kind of as it dries down a little bit, you have some spices and a little bit of sage in the middle. I really love the way this one smells. And towards the base, as it dries down, what you'll have is you're going to have some oak moss. You're going to have a touch of leather in this one. And it's going to be, there's a little bit of civet. Now, just a very small amount. I mean, you're not going to smell terrible or smell like an animal at all. It's beautifully blended. There's also a little bit of myrrh to kind of round all of it out with the addition of amber. It's a beautiful fragrance and it's a really good price. You can find this one. Now, I realize that this is a little bit of an older bottle. I looked online and it looks like they are all going to the little small square ones, like the all line is coming in. So I don't have one of those yet, so I'm assuming that the composition is going to stay the same. It's just they're trying to get a little bit more uniform on their bottles. But actually a really amazing vetiver fragrance from Guerlain 2000. If you have the Extreme, let me know if I need to go look for it and pick it up. I don't have it. This is the EDT. But if you think I should get it and you have it, let me know what you think of it and maybe I'll pick up a bottle. But this one is a gem and it's a really good price. So pick up one, get your nose on it. It's worth every penny. Next, we're going to go up in price just a little bit. We're going to do a Tom Ford. Of course, it was going to be in this list since we're going about vetiver. And, you know, Tom Ford has one called Gray Vetiver. And Gray Vetiver, a big argument online, which one is better, EDT or EDP? Now, some people say that the EDT is a little bit fresher, a little bit more citrus, and it projects a little bit better, and they like it better because of that. And then some other people say that they like the EDP a little bit, the EDP a little bit better because it's a little bit more of a denser fragrance and it lasts just a little bit longer. Personally, I have the EDP. I usually start with the EDP because if I like the EDP and I wanted to project a little bit more, then I'll go get the EDT. But I usually always am in favor of buying the EDP first. Personal opinion, you can do you. So let's give this one a spray. Nice soft sprayer. Doesn't come out too long or too wet, too big. Now I do think you probably need to do about 5 or 6 on this one, just because it's so delicate as it comes out. You know what? This is a great time for you to leave a like if you got anything out of this at all so far. Maybe even subscribe for more content. I'd love to have you on board. Thanks. Did you do it? Awesome. So if you look at the notes of the EDT or the EDP online, they're identical. So really, it's just a little bit different of an oil concentration in the EDP. They're going to be very, very similar. One's just going to be a little bit more dense. But both of them smell absolutely phenomenal. Now, what I like about the Tom Ford Gray Vetiver is that to me, it has a little bit of a more youthful approach to the fragrance. While the Guerlain is a little bit more classic, and the Creed also is a little bit more on the classic side, a little bit more on the gentlemanly side, right? This one is elegant, but in a more youthful Tom Ford kind of way. Really well done. This is a stellar fragrance with decent longevity and projection. Like I said, about 5-6 sprays is where is going to be the sweet spot for this one, at least on my skin. The nice thing about vetivers is that you can wear these just about any time and anywhere. You can wear them to work and you can wear them to play. They're going to be inoffensive. Most people are going to like the vetiver fragrance. The next one we're going to do is also a vetiver fragrance, obviously, and it's going to be one that I really enjoy, but it is more of a bargain. And it is Karl Lagerfeld, and this is Bois de Vetiver. What a gorgeous scent for a really good price. Nice, powerful spray. Did you hear that? It's a 2017 fragrance, and the top note on here is going to be blood orange. There's some pink grapefruit in this one. And it also has a little bit of mint. The blood orange, the grapefruit, and the mint are really blended super well when you first spray that. First time I smelled this, I was like, wow, this smells really unique and really good. There's a little bit of a rose as it dries down in the belly of this fragrance. And then in the bottom, you're going to have ambroxan, musk, and there's a little bit of a patchouli, sort of the trio in the base, ambroxan, musk, and patchouli. As you may have guessed, this one isn't a vetiver bomb. The other ones are more geared towards straight vetiver. This one has vetiver in it, but it sort of has a little bit more going on throughout it. This one to me is a little bit of, it's a creamy fragrance, and it is probably, out of the ones we have here, is probably one of, or is the most unisex fragrance. I think anyone, any age, any sex, any preference could wear this one and just absolutely smell gorgeous. What a wonderful fragrance Bois de Vetiver is from Karl Lagerfeld. And the best thing about it, other than the smell, it comes in at a really good price. And therefore, you can just go out and get this one, and it's a nice little entry into the vetiver world. And of course, the protection and longevity is going to be just along the side of all the ones here. They're all sort of medium with sort of average protection. They're not going to be too powerful. But if you're looking for one that has really good protection and longevity, this next one by Christine Nagel is the perfumer. She really hit the nail on the head with this next vetiver fragrance. And it is going to be by Hermes, and it is Eau Intense Vetiver. Like I said, the perfumer is Christine Nagel. Need little tops right here. I think the newest one that just came out, they're gonna have a different top on it. Eau Intense Vetiver came out in 2018. Christine Nagel is the perfumer behind this one. This one is a powerful vetiver fragrance that's going to stay with you all day long. The original DNA, if you want to call it that, stays in the background, so it does smell a little bit like a Terre de Hermes. Stellar trio at the top. You're going to have bergamot, grapefruit, and lemon. And as it dries down, you're going to have some vetiver, of course, and you're going to have some olibanum, or also known as frankincense, which is really quite beautiful. And then you have some patchouli, amber in the dry down. This one lasts all day on my skin and even longer on the clothes. I mean, I definitely know I don't have to at 5 in the afternoon go, I wonder what I sprayed this morning. Absolutely, you will know that is the Eau Intense Vetiver from Hermes. All day long, smells fabulous. But then, of course, you got to be a little bit in the mood for it. You know, the olibanum or the frankincense, at least to my nose, always kind of reminds me a little bit of church because of my Catholic heritage. And so it always kind of reminds me a little bit of, you know, the priest walking around with the frankincense. So I'm not always in the mood for it. But other than that, I think this is really what gives this fragrance the unique character, is the foreground of the vetiver and the frankincense or olibanum in the fragrance. Beautifully done. Well done, Christine Nagel. Now, the next one that I have, I wasn't going to include. I don't know if you've noticed so far, every fragrance that we've done at this point, you know, we have Eau Intense Vetiver, you know, we have Gray Vetiver, we have Bois de Vetiver, you know, we have Straight Vetiver from Guerlain, you know, we have Creed Original Vetiver, right? Every single one of them has the word vetiver in it. Now, sometimes you can have a vetiver fragrance that doesn't have the name vetiver in it, but it has a really strong quality of vetiver throughout the fragrance. And this next one is one I think that you shouldn't miss. So, because you're so awesome, I figured we'll add it real quick right here. And what this one is, it's a Nathalie Larson fragrance. It is for Lalique, and it is Encre Noire. Now, of course, you're jumping to the conclusion that it's the original Encre Noire. The original Encre Noire only has one vetiver in it. But if you go with the Encre Noire à l'extrême, it has two kinds of vetiver in it. Now, remember when we said earlier that vetiver is often used to stabilize notes, so on and so forth. So it's not the primary contender in this one, but because we have two vetiver notes in here, this is a fabulous vetiver fragrance, at least to my nose. Beautiful sprayer. And actually the whole Encre Noire line is incredibly beautiful. So this one came out in 2015. The original Encre Noire came out in 2006. The whole line is a real treat to your nose, especially this one, I think. It has sort of a resinous, woody, dark, smoky facet to it, but it stays fresh because you're going to have some LME resin in there, which is a powerful, resiny, piney citrus. And of course, you also have some cypress in this fragrance. So it kind of has a freshness in the background, even though it's kind of woody, dark, smoke, very vetiver-y. Beautiful fragrance, and that's the Encre Noire à l'extrême. So if you had to think of what does this one smell like, think of this. Think of expensive boutique hotel in the lobby. That's what this one smells like. Or that's what I would have in my lobby if I had a boutique hotel. I would make it smell like this. Absolutely gorgeous. And the price is right too. You know, now we did some vetiver fragrances, but if you're like, you know, I kind of love to add some fragrance or some vetiver into my fragrance, I want to play around a little bit. You know, sometimes I wish I had more vetiver in something or whatever. Then you can also go with Molecule 03 from Guerlain Eccentric Molecules. It's this one right here. It's a really unique sort of twist on things. It's one single note. This is going to be vetiveryl acetate. So it is made in a lab. The thing about this one is that it's not going to be a clean or a fresh vetiver. It's not bright, clean, and fresh. It misses the citruses that are in here because it's vetiver on its own. Now you could layer this, mix this, combine this however you want to do it. You know, what I usually like to do with these things right here is I like to spray them underneath and then spray my fragrance, whatever I want to wear on top of it if I blend. I have all of these from Guerlain Molecules Eccentric or Eccentric Molecules. And sometimes I like to play around. However often I kind of just wear one fragrance note at a time. Like I would wear this one, not combined with something. I would wear it on its own, straight as a vetiver note. As it dries down, there is a little bit of movement through it. It's somewhat linear, but it does kind of change a little bit with everybody's skin. So you can play with 03, Molecule 03, to kind of mix it, blend it, wear it on its own if you love the note of vetiver. And it surprisingly lasts pretty long. It lasts to me all day, and it has a pretty decent protection. Although because of its nature of the kind of, I guess, vetiveryl acetate is a little bit more on the dirty side, I would wear this one when it's a little bit cooler, not in the midsummer. I think it's a little bit too dense, a little bit too heavy. But it is definitely a fragrance must-have for vetiver lovers. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and maybe even subscribe for more content. I loved spending time with you. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, I want you to take good care of yourself. Always smell nice, and I will talk to you soon. Until then, Centrail.